The reason why 90% of traders lose is not because of random chance. It's because that those 90% they give up too soon. The 10% who make it, they make it because they don't give up and they keep trying and refining their strategy until they find that one that works. You only need one pattern, one strategy that you can repeat over and over and over again if you want to become a consistent day trader. So don't forget that. What's going on, guys? Tony Ivanov here with another video lesson, and today I'm going to talk about exactly how I traded TIK and profited $1,181.39 in around 13 minutes. I put in $2,094 and it came out with $3,276. So this is perfect if you have a small account. Make sure that you watch this whole video because I can guarantee that there's a lot of great information in this video that you can benefit from and use in your own trading. If you're new to my videos, I appreciate you stopping by. I make these videos every single day, Monday to Friday, just recapping my trades and just giving guys tips and tricks on how you can become a more profitable day trader. So if you see value in this type of content, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe. So let's just get right into this trade. The only reason why I found this trade is because I used trade ideas. When I was looking at the pre-market action today on equity feed, there was not really much that looked really nice. Let me just get trade ideas back into history here. So when I was looking at pre-market, there was not that much that was really enticing. Let me just do this real fast. There was a couple stocks. Mainly there was PTI, which I'll bring up in a second. But in pre-market, it was already up around 100%. So because it was up so much, I didn't really want to trade it that bad because I would have really been chasing it. So let this load real fast. While that's happening, let me bring up PTI real fast. So you can see this stock, it had some great news yesterday in the after hours. They are a company that makes medicine, and they had some really good news that they had I'm not exactly sure what the news was, but I can definitely tell that it was positive. I didn't read too much into it because by the time I saw it, it was already up. Let me see how high this is. From the low twos, it was already up like 157% on the day. So it was up way too much for me. I was about to buy the pre-market breakout over this area right here, just over $5. But like I said, I didn't really want to jump into this stock because it was already up so much, and it didn't seem like there was much more room to profit, so I didn't trade it. Looking back, the main play that you could have taken was the morning dip. So we did have a pre-market high of day breakout, but that wasn't the best play of the day. You can tell the best play for sure was after the morning spike, we dipped back down and bounced perfectly off of this previous resistance level. One of the key things about technical analysis is that previous resistance becomes support. So whenever we have the price action move through a level of resistance, dip back down and use it as support, that's now a confirmed support and it's likely going to bounce off of it. So you could have traded this one and you would have made probably around like 10-15%, I think. Actually like 30% if you played it from top to bottom. It's more likely that you would have made about like 20%, which is still a great gain. Don't get me wrong, but it's just risky because this stock is already up so much. However, with TIK, it didn't move at all in pre-market, and we saw the same exact thing with YTEN yesterday. So here's my low float movers uh, window. If you join my lifetime mentorship, you'll get free access into my trade ideas uh, layout, which means that you can use the same exact window and find all these low float stocks that are moving like crazy. So here it is. And the reason why I traded this one is because it has a low price in my price range. It was moving really fast on low volume and has a really small float. When we look at this one, like PTI, it's higher priced. It already has a bunch of volume trading it, and it has a very large flow of 21 million shares. And the higher the flow, the less likely it is that it's going to have a very large run. The smaller the float, the more likely it is to have these huge spikes. And if we look at the daily chart on TIK, you can see that this has a history. Let me just put it over here so it's easier to see. You can see it definitely has a history of having these large runs into this same area over $6. So once I saw that, once I loaded up the chart, that was my reasoning to say, okay, I'm going to jump into this as fast as I can and hold on for the ride. So I got in uh, at right after it was hitting my scanners. I got in just under $3, so right around here, with only 700 shares, and instantly we jump up massively. So yesterday the issue I had on YTEN was it was moving so fast, and I got way too emotional on it, and I sold way too soon. Mainly because my goal with my small account is mainly just to take these nice uh, small profits consistently. And don't get me wrong, I've been doing that really awesomely. Is that even a word, awesomely? I don't know. The past few months now. But it burned me on this trade because I sold way too soon. I think my buying point was the low threes, and when I sold, it was like high threes. So I made $119 on that trade, and you can see it went all the way up to nines. And this daily chart has the same pattern as TIK, where we have these nice large random rips that just happen on volume. So going back to TIK, I didn't want to make the same mistake. So instead of doing that, I took partial profits when I was making over $1 like per share already, and that lets my emotions calm down, and that let me hold on to the stock longer. So if you have issues when you're trading and you get rid of your shares too soon, I recommend that you try taking partial profits, because once you have that locked in, you will be much more willing into holding it much longer and then in the stock move. Now the same thing with TIK is that once we had this large rip, I knew that it was going to get a volatility halt, and whenever we have a stock like this halt, usually after the halt it runs even more. So once we had this halt, I knew that, okay, this is the one, we're going to make it into the sixes, and that was my price target. And that was my price target mainly because I was using the previous history on the daily chart, and I recognized that, okay, whenever we had a large run like this, it always hit this area of $6. So I didn't want to get too greedy. So once we hit that level, I locked in my profits. And also, what you could have used is a 1 minute chart. You can obviously see here that there's a nice double top on these two candles. When you have this pattern, that means that it has a lot of resistance there, and it's not likely that it's going to break out any further, especially when it has a huge move like this. So locked in the rest of my shares, made almost $1,200 on the day. Very, very, very awesome trade. I'm really happy that my trade was really from bottom to top. I got almost the entire move out of this, and I also alerted this into my chat room right when I saw it hit my scanner. I didn't alert it after I bought. I alerted it prior to me buying. Let me just go into the chat room here. If you want to join the chat room, link is down below. If you join my mentorship program, you get lifetime access into it. So 1 second. Here it is. TIK at 6:31 a.m. And you can see I was pretty happy that I held on. It's a really, really awesome feeling when you nail a trade perfectly, especially when the day before you had the same exact trade, same entry, but you didn't nail the exit. When you nail the entry and the exit, it's a pretty good feeling. So essentially, now that I made this trade going into tomorrow, I'm not going to get too greedy. I'm still going to have my daily goal of making around $200 per day. But if we do have a trade like this, low float, and it's moving rapidly on low volume, you have to recognize whenever you have a huge mover like this on low volume, there's going to be other buyers on top of you. So the main thing is that you have to get in first, get in early, and just hold on, because by the time that I got in, it had less than 100,000 shares traded. And whenever you have a huge runner like this, they usually have millions and millions of shares traded. So let's see, when I got in, it had just under 70,000 shares traded on the day, and it was already up 30%. So knowing that, I knew that it was going to have a bunch more buying on top of my entry. So we have to recognize that and hold on for the ride. Here though, after this big rip, it just failed and faded all day. Not like YTEN where we had a pullback and ripped even higher. Let's go into YTEN. You can see on YTEN, after we had that halt, we topped out, but then we had one more U-shaped breakout and squeezed up even further. We didn't have the same thing on TIK, and my reasoning for that is basically because everyone was recognizing the patterns in the play, and because of that, it just didn't work out. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but it's kind of like reverse psychology, where when you have people who expect something to happen, it doesn't really happen. You can see here it tried, but the main difference between this stock and YTEN is once it bottomed out, it was already really, really, really down off its highs. It was down about 35%, where on YTEN, after its dip, it was only down off its highs. Oh gosh, what happened? It was down off its highs only like 10-15%, not even 16%, and it was holding VWAP. That's the key thing. When it holds VWAP, when it holds the middle Bollinger Band, that's sign of strength. That's sign of strength. And what basically happens is that we had this breakout. What is this? We had this breakout over this wedge pattern, and it squeezes up higher. On TIK, we didn't have that same pattern. We did not hold VWAP at all. and we did not hold the Miller-Bollinger Band. So once that happens, you have to recognize, okay, it's a different type of play, and it's not too likely that we're going to have a U-shaped breakout and go higher. So those are just my quick thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll make these videos every single day recapping my trades. And just remember that you're only one pattern, one strategy away from becoming a profitable day trader, so don't give up. The reason why 90% of traders lose is not because of random chance. It's because that those 90%, they give up too soon. The 10% who make it, they make it because they don't give up and they keep trying and refining their strategy until they find that one that works. You only need one pattern, one strategy that you can repeat over and over and over again if you want to become a consistent day trader. So don't forget that. I'll see you guys tomorrow.